Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Honcast here. We're on to Season 3, Cycle 3, continuing coverage, of course, resuming coverage for today. Took a little bit of a break there, the earlier series ending a little bit quicker, but advancing on now in what is the losers bracket, and of course the matchup that we're covering here is Nullstone Gaming versus Bad Monkey Gaming, a rematch of last cycle. These two teams met in the losers bracket a round later, in fact. But with that said, of course, Nullstone Gaming defeating BMG 2-1, so no doubt Bad Monkey Gaming going to be looking for some revenge there, as well as staying alive here in Cycle 3 and advancing on themselves. But definitely, no doubt, really looking forward to an exciting best out of three going to be coming at you. And can't wait to get things kicked off, as you already see, already kind of developing. Once again, joined back by Mini Maga here. I'm pumped, man. Ready for this matchup.
Man, I'm really pumped as well. Seeing as obviously we matched up against, or we watched this team in the last cycle, and it was a kind of a grudge match, honestly, because initially it was last cycle on Thursday. You know, Nullstone got absolutely dominated by BMG, and then the next time they actually faced, obviously they beat over BMG. So you know, there's some sort of revenge needed here for BMG, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good game, Breaky, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, and no doubt she'll be, of course, the other matchup that is happening, The Last of Us versus Raising Gaming, looking at the brackets right here. So at this point from here on out, you are going to be remaining in Diamond Division. That's obviously a good start, but, you know, the further you advance on, the more money you make, you pride, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's been over that many times. Raising Gaming versus The Last of Us, the other matchup, that is actually being covered by Diglett over there at twitch.tv/Diglett_. So if you want to watch both, again, dual stream, whatever, you can check out that as well. But again, BMG versus Nullstone here. We had to cover this one when we saw this on the docket, no doubt. So again, developing into the draft. Here we go. We got Parasite, Magnus, and Bubbles coming out right here for Nullstone Gaming. Rhapsody and Tempest so far on the side of Bad Monkey Gaming. So they got Rhapsody, Tempest, AoE synergy in a sense. Going to be interesting to see how they finish it up here. The final pick.
You know, one thing to note though is that obviously, like, yeah, we got Rhapsody and Tempest over here from BMG, and it's something that I don't know. I mean, they obviously are a great team, so they can play kind of any strategy like they want to or what they feel to. But I mean, for BMG, it's all about early aggression. I mean, normally they pick up the Parasite, they pick up, you know, kind of maybe like the Revenant, and you know, those are really aggressive heroes, those early ganking heroes. But particularly in this draft, anyway, the more sort of centered around sort of AoE team fights, maybe a bit of push, obviously with the Tempest in there. And then obviously they finished it off with a Ratchet Hag as well, so a lot of AoE synergy here. Whereas Nullstone sort of kept along the lines of sort of early gank and sort of ganking potential with like the Parasite and the Bubble. So it'd be a classic game of sort of gank versus team fight, I guess. Yeah.
So Ratchet Hag, the final one. Again, Hackstray, and he's familiar with that hero. So, you know, we were supposed to that yesterday, in fact, when we were covering the BMG series, and they're taking out Sync Esports. It seems like they were kind of almost going with Hackstray and giving him heroes that maybe he's not as good, like Master of Arms, for example, yesterday, especially in that second game. It just seemed odd. Didn't make sense. And, you know, the whole game itself just didn't really work out, of course. So Hag, on the other hand, again, familiar with that, so that's overseen. As long as it ends up in his hands, I mean, it could be something else, but we'll see where that ultimately plays out here. But the band's now following up, of course, Kraken into Puppet Master and a Gauntlet coming out right here. We'll see what the final three end up being. Glacius is going to be happening there. So things are developing now. We'll see Super KGE, what hero he may end up getting it. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen hooking Super KGE, man.
Yeah, like a Devourer.
Yeah. We need that.
Long time. I mean, Gauntlet did just get banned out here by Durant, so we pretty won't see obviously the Gauntlet here. We might obviously see the Devourer, because obviously it's not banned out. But I don't know. I mean, Devourer can obviously work, and back in BMG, the initial BMG, they did actually have quite good success with it, but that was more with like more heavy push, like the Ophelia. Obviously, they have some decent push of Tempest as well, but that's more AoE sort of centric here in terms of this draft. I mean, obviously it can still work, but maybe the Meraxus or even like the Prisoner might be better suited in this draft here for BMG.
Yeah. I'll see which of those it may end up being, if so. But Nullstone Gaming going to be their fourth pick now. Parasite, Magnus, Bubbles. Again, a very aggressive makeup in the works here for Nullstone, most certainly. And, you know, we're actually kind of talking about that as we happened to jump into that game when they were taking on Twisted Fusion. How they drafted a very aggressive lineup there, too. I think they had these same heroes even with I believe it was like a Doctor Repulsor and something else. So you see Doctors being banned, though, so I'm not going to be able to pick that up here. But, you know, we'll see, maybe something to help stop that Tempest. I mean, they already got quite a bit at the same time to take care of that. But something like a Pharaoh is on the board. Wouldn't be out of the question, and but
I don't know. I mean,
Bubbles, so.
Yeah, it could work. But I mean, like if they pick up Pharaoh as well, there's so much heavy gank, and that's kind of they're sort of all in on that sort of one strategy, kind of like a one-trick pony. They definitely need some kind of carry potential here. Whether they pick up on the 4th pick or on the 5th pick, it will depend, obviously. So they're going to obviously pick up their main support here, Torture, and then most likely finish it off with some kind of strong carry. I mean, Moon Queen's still on the board. And Dark Lady, obviously we saw it in the last game of Dark Lady, and we see it here. So I guess it's going to be a Suicide Wretched Hag most likely, unless they run, obviously, Wretched Hag as a middle lane. Or I mean, I don't think it's going to be a Suicide Dark Lady, although I wouldn't put it past Hector, and obviously he's been running a little bit of Suicide Mage Ben, so who knows, this could be... I mean, if you think about it, Dark Lady could work somewhat in a Suicide lane, because obviously the charging strikes, but at the same time, it just seems a little bit weird and awkward, but we'll see, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, so the final pick now for Nullstone Gaming to happen here. Again, we'll see what, obviously, again, they end up with. But, yeah, I've seen that Dark Lady, you know, we're talking about that... it kind of goes along those lines. So sure enough, we do see Wretched Hag probably not going to end up in his hands. But kind of another comfort here, though, that hard carry that he does have history with. Going to be fun to see how it ultimately works out. But Gemini, the final pickup. And, you know, I do find it kind of interesting now to still see them getting the opportunity to pick up Gemini for Beaverbanger here. But, again, going into Dark Lady.
Dark Lady. Yep, exactly, and we saw it in last game that although Gemini had a good start in the initial sort of run, he did actually sort of start to fall off because of the Dark Lady and what the Dark Blade sort of did to him. So it could be the sort of same here in game number 1, but we'll have to see. All heroes picked up. I mean, they do actually finish off with a Tundra as well. So another hero that has had a slight resurgence. Obviously, we saw it. I think Reason versus Tree, wasn't it? The other game with actually Tundra being picked up, and we sit here again. So. Recycling of the old heroes, I guess, out of the new.
Yeah, well, again, the Tundra, that was even the first picked yesterday in that series. So this hero is god-tier potential. First pick, it may be a little bit over the top for nowadays. We're not used to that. But to be able to pick it up final pick, it's definitely a solid final pick as long as it fits in your lineup and can lane it appropriately. But, yeah, I mean, kind of looking at what they have, they definitely have options for what they plan to do here.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of options, not only in the laning phase, but just in terms of the strategy as well. I talked about how they had quite a good amount of team fight with the Rapsy, Hag, and Tundra. Obviously, they have good team fight with Tundra and Dark Lady, but now it can sort of transition into sort of the later game stage, seeing as they do have the Dark Lady, the Wretched Hag, and obviously the superior ultimates of Tempest and Tundra. So very, very strong late game carries. Late game sort of draft here in game 1, but. The one thing that they might be lacking a little bit is actually a lot of gank and early game aggression, whereas Nullstone Gaming, they have actually full-on early game aggression in terms of ganks and their ganking potential. So if Nullstone can get ahead with an early lead, then it could definitely be almost an early victory here, but BMG will have to definitely hold on near the later stages of the game if they want to take this game. You know what,
Minimag, I'm having flashbacks to yesterday here with Zibion Hag. In this case, he has the courier down here, the ground courier. Remember what happened? I mean, it got picked off yesterday. Yeah, so he needs to be careful with that. I'm sure he is going to be, but there is a ward of sight that was placed here by Nullstone Gaming, so they're going to kind of see him try to be sneaky right here with this ward of sight. Most likely, it's just a matter if they're close enough to actually be able to do anything about it. But yeah, it needs to be a little bit careful about that situation developing down there. But sure enough, it is going to be the Suicide Wretched Hag. You do have that middle lane Tundra being played by Super KG. So again, not the hook hero, unfortunately, but playing Tundra nonetheless. And by all means, I'm sure it'll be just fine. Controlling that Shiver, giving you vision on the map at the movable ward in a sense, such a strong tool. And a good use of its power, so.
Obviously, he has to be quite careful, seeing as he is playing against a Parasite as well. You don't want to obviously give him the Shiver, but at the same time, I mean, Tundra is a very good pickup. Seeing as sort of the Nullstone sort of strategy here is early game aggression and early sort of ganks, make sure they snowball into the mid game from like a higher sort of kill and golden experience from there. And obviously, Tundra can spot him out with Shiver, but at the same time, obviously, can sort of shoot himself in the foot if obviously Parasite does get a hold of the Shiver.
Yeah.
So definitely, Super KG will have to be definitely on the ball. But I mean, I talk about Super KG on Tundra, but I mean, does he have a lot of history with the hero? I don't know about you, Breaky, but do you have any knowledge of Super KG?
Not that I can. I mean, obviously, again, it's when you think Super KG, you think the hook heroes for the most part. I mean, but even outside of that, your typical other mid hero, something like a Pebbles maybe, but. Yeah, Tundra, I don't think, on record he hasn't played Tundra. I'm even trying to think, like way back when the original BMG and whatnot, Lions and I can't say he was really known for playing that kind of hero. So it is a little bit different in that sense. You know, somewhat micro-intensive, being on top of the Shiver. And you do bring up a really good point. I mean, we talk about the combo of the Parasite Tundra on the same team. It is interesting when Parasite happens to be on the other team because you definitely have to be careful with that. So we'll keep an eye on this Shiver. And I know yesterday I was paying attention to it somewhat. The Shiver seemed to be pretty active. I'll try to keep an eye on it today and see if Super KG really is using it as much as he should be in these cases. So... but again, he goes back to being he has God tier potential, but in the right hands. Just because he has that potential doesn't mean you can just pick him up without playing him much and expect to be very, very good with him. It's that mindset. You got to have a mindset.
Similar to Ophelia. So.
Yeah, definitely. Very high skill cap. So, of course, Exhibit going to be doing the whole reconnect thing here and coming back into the game, and once he does, good to resume on. But as far as lanes shaping up here, especially on the Legion side too, I mean, nothing crazy here.
Well, it could definitely actually change up because, excuse me, it could be Magnus and Parasite and Torture up top lane. Have Gemini in the middle lane face up against Tundra, and then obviously like Bubbles against Wretched Hag. That will obviously put pressure onto the Dark Lady as well, pressure onto the Tempest as well. And I think that would make the most amount of sense because obviously they want to have a good early start and get those sort of snowballs and sort of kills happening. And having the aggressive pseudo tri-lane could definitely be the sort of start that Nullstone Gaming are looking for.
Yeah. All right, so just waiting for that reconnect to pop in again. Technically, they only have 6 minutes here, so hopefully not too much longer before Exhibit is able to hop back in and going to be good to go. Again, it was a disconnect himself, so it seems like maybe just making some changes on his side. But anyways, again, the other series, The Last of Us vs. Recent, that also has started. Again, being covered by Diglett over there. I was actually going to take a quick look, see what maybe lineups they have over there in that matchup. Anything going Bushwhack again, man. Imba Boy playing the Bushwhack there. That's like the third game in these 2 days.
I know, yeah.
And we've seen him play that.
Crazy.
They're having fun with that, and again, maybe a taste of things to come as far as carry potential heroes. I think right now, especially, you know, we talked about on the podcast a little bit about the support role and like Rhapsody, and you know, it seems like there's a very couple of like a Torture, Rhapsody, Glacius, Empath, that, like as far as the tiers go that we see played. You know, you got your junglers, your suicide. I think carries has the most diversity right now as far as options. I mean, there's a lot of options depending on the ultimate lineup that you want to run, and I think if you kind of sort of break it down between the categories of heroes and how they're used, carries would probably be the most diverse.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Because, I mean, I think in supports that you have, like, your top supports, and they kind of fulfill every single role that any other support could have. Obviously, like Rhapsody, Empath, and kind of Glacius are kind of like your top supports. And any kind of strategy or any kind of niche sort of lineup sort of strategy you want, you could just pick one of those 3, and therefore all the other sort of supports are kind of like left out in that respect. But
yeah. All right. It looks like he's reconnected, and they're going to be good to go here. So hit that resume button, and it's about damn time. There we go. Indeed, indeed it is. So game 1 here again in the best of the 3, of course. Definitely wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we've had some pretty good series here throughout these first couple of days, especially yesterday, the later one, and Reason Gaming involved in that long series against Willowkeeper. Of course, Willowkeeper ended up coming out on top of the end, but it could have just as easily been Reason Gaming winning that series too. So unfortunately, they lost, though. Less weather. Well, in the other losers bracket matchup, of course. What am I saying? We're not casting Reason Gaming. Sometimes I just have a mind lapse, man.
you want to be, but
I want to be, clearly. Somebody told me I have to cast this stupid match.
Bushwhack.
Yeah, come on, Bushwhack. But anyways, you see Wretched Hag right there. He was spotted being sneaky, but in the end, he actually gets the ward down. No courier nearby. The courier's actually back at base, so.
Good ward actually placed by Zibe, actually, because obviously it blocks out one of the hard camps from Parasite, as well as he gives the rune vision as well. So actually I like that place when they come out from Zibe.
Yeah. Wretched Hag obviously going to run into some trouble, though, with that set. Drent's on the Torturer. Very, very good, arguably the best babysit support hero in the laning phase at this time. So going to really pressure him. That main reason right there, that impalement is so strong, especially if he gets him by himself without the creep wave. But also needs to be careful with that creep wave, so keep an eye on that. See how that works out. But yeah, Magnus at this top lane, and expect him to also run into a little bit of trouble up here. Fuzzy Sloth going to try to hide in the trees, but not for long. As well, Steam Bath will help with that, though. That's the good thing. And they don't really have anything to kind of hurt him for sitting in a Steam Bath, so that's the good thing for Magnus at that top side. Parasite Blood Chalice early on, not surprising there. Seen a lot of the Codex lately. I'm sure what you got possibly going to go that route here. Tundra also potential for like a puzzle box, but again, you're going against a Parasite.
Nah, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to be picking up puzzle box when you're going against a puzzle box against Parasite. Yeah, Wretched Hag dropping quite low, but
yeah.
I think the stun just about missed. Well, Parasite is coming over.
Well, there comes the leech. The creep's even going to assist a little bit right there. Those are wolves. That's going to assist with a lot of damage. The stun missed, but down he goes. And what you got gets good for the kill. You almost want to say he should have probably tried to get himself killed actually by the neutrals at that point, but try to get away. What's going to happen in the end goes down. And you see a counter word also coming out right here, just after the 2 minutes. But at least it does block right there a little bit longer, but still they are going to take care of it. So very good start for Nullstone Gaming actually.
Yeah, and this is the problem also with Suicide Wretched Hag. I mean, we used to see it like a long time ago, but that was normally when we also always used to see like jungle rotations, and always it was like a 1v1 in the short lane versus Suicide, and obviously now it's you know, a little bit more different. Obviously now it's 2 in the short lane, and Wretched Hag is very weak at 1v2, and that's why also you see the early death here, and something to be noted obviously from the draft from BMG.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you actually think about the draft, it's actually very greedy. Obviously, they've got a greedy jungler with Tempest, they've got a greedy hard carry, and then they've got a very greedy Suicide. So, and seeing as Nullstone are all about the early game aggression, they could definitely actually suffer if they're not careful. But obviously, at the same time, if they can actually progress into the late game, you know, not too impeded or not too sort of punished, then obviously they are definitely going to most likely take this game.
That's
because of obviously the late game. Potential they've got.
Yeah, I mean, late game potential, I don't know if there's a question there. I mean, there is definitely some strength in Nullstone. Of course, Gemini always scary. You know, team fight's definitely there, but you got a Tempest especially. You got the Dark Lady, arguably one of the strongest hard carries simply because of the Dark Blades that should reach the table. We know, we just got finished talking about the previous series, how Dark Lady, especially when she gets that good farm, I mean, that's what gets her wins, and expect to see a 600+ goal per minute at the later round stages. So, again, a lot can happen in between that, and the game ultimately can play out any way, of course, but it's going to be fun to see how that does. Bubbles, middle lane, a lot of pressure on him right here. You see Tundra. He was thinking about diving, but couldn't get close enough. And actually, Bubbles is going to be fine, taking advantage of that cold shoulder. Magnus, though, coming over the top lane. He has a stun ready to go. Okay, Parasite's here. I was going to say, but Bubbles isn't really close, but there comes Parasite. Minotaur stun. That's not even close. Not nearly enough damage on the Tundra right there. He's a bit tanky earlier on in the game with his stats and how he levels and whatnot. So boots picked up and still good to go. 4-minute rune going to be spawning with that said, and actually it's top, I believe, or it was top. Yeah, Invis actually on a Magnus. Ooh, he's going to try to use it right here. Oh, look at Tundra though. He's actually heading back to base, and I think that just happens to be coincidence, or he just feels like, okay, they got the rune no matter what it is, just in case to be safe. He's going to go get a regen on a bottle in the meantime, so going to be fine right there. But yeah, as I was going to go back to, though, I mean, I think especially as the reasons you're stating for, they're going to really be relying on Tempest here to have a pretty good time, get that early push. But also, on the other side of the spectrum, Nullstone needs to take advantage of that. Get this early start going, get the level 6s on Bubbles, especially in Parasite, and start setting up those ganks, or continue even as they've already gotten the one on a Bubbles. So keep an eye on the momentum here. In the end, I'm gonna Gemini. I wonder if it's gonna level up that elemental force or not. Saw the last game. Not getting that till later on. Not too much crazy stuff going on though, other than
yeah, and that to me that's quite sort of strange, honestly. I mean, I know it's only 5 minutes in, but you would expect actually Nullstone gamers to start maybe getting aggressive because they will need these kills. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to actually make these rotations and ganks happen. The most sort of likely sort of person to fall here for BMG would most likely be Hagen. She's already died once at least. I mean, Bubbles is level 6 though, so I mean rotation could happen in any lane, but it really depends on when he's happy to sort of make a rotation. Since then, really, obviously Parasite's still level 5 as well, so he can't really make that rotation. Although Timus is coming in the middle lane, Bubbles might be in trouble. But
yeah, Bubbles actually just shell surfing right there. That was an opportunity, but not going to be close enough, and so thus nothing going to happen in the end. Just updating my interface right here. Apparently I left out an E on Nullstone Gaming. There we go. Now it's actually official there. So 6-minute rune going to be coming up here. And it's going to be bottom. Regen rune, not the biggest deal in the world. In fact, Hag and Parasite going to compete for it, but it gets taken off right away. Actually worked out pretty well. So yeah, Tundra was roaming over, but couldn't get there in time. And that'll be that. What do you think about Tundra as far as boots, though? I mean, there's not too much going on, so I'll have that kind of discussion. I mean, we see Striders quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it depends on what kind of farm you're actually getting, to be honest. Like, if you're getting good farm, then I think Steam Boots is the way forward, because obviously you can take advantage of the Steam Boot swap. And with Tundra, you don't really pick up a lot of mana items, so you kind of need that sort of Steam Boot swapping to make sure that you're getting most out of your mana. But at the same time, if you're not getting the greatest farm, you can also pick up the Striders. I mean, obviously, Tundra, the main thing about him is obviously the utility, so you obviously don't really need the damage from kind of like Ghost Marches. I mean, you could go for Plated Greaves, but actually, mid lane,
Yeah, Avalanche going off, but Take Cover actually came out, so it made it so he wasn't going to do it in the end. Here comes the Wild Hunter Parasite. He's looking to set up the kill on a Tundra. Look at the kill. Super KG, he did not expect that. Tempest stuns on the Torturer. I don't think that's going to result in much, though. He can't chase further. As, yeah, he has a support nearby. So the Wild Hunter Parasite coming into play, but also the great Take Cover from Bubbles really screwed over Tundra right there. Kill attempt.
Yeah, he was like mid-animation, actually, for the Avalanche, and then Bubbles just take cover, so he can play from there.
Hands are in the air, going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. The only really ganks can happen is when the junglers start to make a rotation, try and go for a gank. Obviously, Tempest did rotate in the middle lane, but it was Parasite who ended up ahead. And he's actually farming a lot better than Tempest, actually, because of those 2 kills to his name. 350 GPM, and at the moment, actually, they've got some good farm across all the board, actually. Got 380 GPM on Gemini, 350 on Parasite, and Bubbles is doing alright as well, obviously 260 higher than Tundra after that kill onto him. So, I mean, it's going to be almost similar to the last game, sort of carry versus carry, Dark Lady versus Gemini. However, the only thing I do worry about is that obviously the team support for BMG here is a lot better than Null when it gets into the mid to later stages of the game. So, as long as they keep on the pressure, keep on the kills, which they are doing, to be fair, maybe I would like to see him get a little bit more aggressive in the next couple of minutes or so. Then everything should be fine for Nullstone Gaming. Obviously, like, they don't want to get too passive. Obviously, they don't want to give away any kills, but at the same time, you can't play passive when you're going against, obviously, like a Tempest and a sort of dual carry in that respect. So,
yeah,
definitely something to keep in mind.
I mean, the way you drafted it, and the way that even the lanes were set up, I mean, it was definitely looking like it was going to put the Legion team actually in a pretty good spot to at least win 2 of the lanes. And I mean, so far, it is a very even game in the end. 8.5 minutes in, nothing too crazy on either side, like I said. And in fact, Gemini even a slight advantage over Dark Lady right now as far as his farm is concerned. So Beaver Banger, again, has good history on this hero. Nice deny in the middle tower as well. Taking away that resource from the Hellborn team. Now, that is still a loss, obviously, for Nullstone. Losing a tower, especially this early on in the game, especially the middle tower, pretty big deal. They don't have that place to get vision now from, as well as to be able to TP to, if need be. So,
yeah, and to be fair, in these sort of mirror matchups, actually, Parasite is here in the middle lane with the Wild Hunter. I think he's wondering whether to jump into the Shiver or not, but he might just go scout at Tempest in the end, or just wait here on the Tundra. But yeah, I mean, when you have a mirror match, obviously, 2 in the short lane, 1 in the middle, jungler, and then your Suicide. It all really depends on the mid lane. Actually, talking about mid lane,
there
Tundra's
comes the opening right there. Tundra, yep, he is going to fall in the. It's a good patience from Parasite, keeping himself out of vision and make sure to be nearby to ultimately set up the kill on a Super KG. So, Super KG, I mean, he's having a tough time here. 0-2-0 start. That's to the Rome though, and the potential that we knew was coming.
Exactly, and that's what Nullstone needs to do, actually. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, though, is that when you have these mirror matchups, it's really always down to the middle lane. Like, if you win the middle lane, then you're going to come out ahead, obviously, because you're meant to win your short lane. You're meant to win, you're meant to lose your Suicide. So it all comes down to mid. And obviously, if you're 1v1 evened up, it all goes down to who can play it better. In this respect, actually, it's getting good roam coming out from Parasite to get the 2 early kills on Tundra. Yeah. And as a result, obviously, Bubbles is a lot higher GPM and ahead of Tundra in that respect. But Tundra can obviously bounce back, and Tempest is farming very, very well. Actually, 350 GPM. And the tier 1 tower top is most likely going to fall, and likewise his bottom most likely as well. So quite mirror matchups in this respect so far.
Yeah, I mean, the charts reflect that too. It's a very, very even chart right here. For either side, I mean, maybe the more the slight advantage now for the Hellborn team, and that shows overall to 1,700 gold lead in favor of Bad Monkey Gaming, but definitely still a long ways to go before we get a clearer picture of where things could end up. So Sustainer on a Dark Lady. Of course, we're well on the way to the Rune Cleaver. Bottom lane, they are collapsing. Out comes a face hug. Wretched Dad can't blink away as a result. And even with the miss stun from Gemini, the Twin Breath actually comes out. And more than enough damage for the kill. Top lane, actually, Dark Lady got a little extra aggressive, and that's going to backfire. Magnus going to help with the kill on a Dark Lady. So that's a very good situation overall for Nullstone Gaming. And 2 for nothing, especially the kill on a Dark Lady. really, really big coming out 11 minutes into this game. But again, that's the gotcha. They don't even have portal keys yet, and yet they're still really catching BMG off guard.
Yeah, but this is exactly what they need to do, because even though they actually are 5 kills ahead, they're still actually behind in terms of the farm, because obviously the dual carry that BMG are running, as well as Tempest farming out of his brains right now. 390 GPM. He hasn't even left the woods. He tried for a gank middle lane, but it did fail. But in the end, he is still obviously farming ridiculously, nearly 400 GPM, almost like a third carry here for BMG. The tower bottom does go down in the end, and that will secure Nullstone the early lead that they were looking for. But fact of the matter is, they still got to be aggressive, because like if they didn't make any kills, obviously they would be behind, because they've got 5 kills on the board, but they're only just slightly ahead. So the aggression still has to be made and played here. Yeah. Top lane though, Tundra is going to try and get aggressive here onto the Magnus.
Again, using the shiver, I think that might have been seen, though, coming over. So Magnus has a decent idea that something could be up. There is more Spark Torture coming. In fact, perfect timing, because he sees Tundra. And now Magnus, that's going to give him the information that he needs. Steam Bath comes out. It does make sure the Avalanche is not going to connect, and that's an easy getaway for Fuzzy Slaw. So that's just kind of unfortunate timing right there from Tundra. The second he was going out, Tundra was just walking up there at the same time. So that's good news, though, for Nullstone, of course, keeping Fuzzy Sloth alive on the Magnus, and he's going to still hang out around here. Now, he is being spotted by this ward of sight, of course, so he's not being as sneaky as he may think. But Portal Key just picked up by Cholo Samion here, playing the bubbles. And that's so we talk about, again, the gotcha potential that they've already had. Now you throw Portal Keys on top of that, it just gets that much worse. Beaverbanger going for the Nullstone here.
Yeah, no, I was about to mention that. We saw that in the last game as well, and obviously it was going against a Dark Lady. And again, I'm not too fond of the pickup in this. Excuse me. In this game, it makes a little bit more sense, because obviously he's facing a Tundra, so he doesn't want to get the portal key instant initiation of the Avalanche. But at the same time, obviously, he can get actually stopped as middle lane. Tempest going on the Torturer cannot find him in the end. But yeah, going back, like, even if they do coordinate, they can still obviously do the bursts of the sort of jump of the Avalanche, as long as Taint Style is applied from Dark Lady. So again, I'm not too fond of the pickup. Stated before, obviously it does give a lot of stats. It is good in that respect. Gives him mana regeneration, health regeneration that he does need, because he used a lot of his spells. But at the same time, I'm not too fond of it. Actually, top lane.
Yeah, what is going on up here? Oh, actually, way up here. I was looking at bubbles, like not too much, but it's actually Dark Lady running into Magnus. Magnus invis, of course. I don't know if unless Bubbles can get up here, but he's occupied with the creep wave.
I mean, Dark Lady was very, very low, like 300, 400 HP, and Magnus was still invis. I was wondering if he's going to go for a stun and eruption play, but didn't make it in the end. So
he's got kind of teammates nearby, but yeah, it is interesting to see again, even on a different player. I don't think he usually does this. I'm trying to think. I mean, we know Beaverbanger plays Gemini, but yeah, I don't think he usually does this, but. Clearly something making a point that I need to get at this game. Maybe it is the Tundra, but as you pointed out, I mean, he even has a way himself to remove it before he avalanches with the cold shoulder. They have a Tempest for I mean, yeah, I just don't know if I can agree with this Nullstone pickup. But.
I mean, if he wants to get a little bit tanky, then why not just rush like Frostwolf or something like Frostburn or something like that, instead of just going the Nullstone? To me, it just seems a little bit strange. I mean, I can understand, like, I think the main thing probably is the mana regeneration, in the sense that like he needs to keep on farming. Obviously, like he needs to make sure he has almost like a farming mechanism. Like the Nullstone is kind of like a semi-farming mechanism as well. Obviously, it does provide the defensive benefits, but it obviously does give him some kind of good farming abilities as well. So
yeah, for the same amount of gold though, you can get like a Frozen Light. Or even a Searing Light for just a little bit more gold. I guess 400 more gold than the Nullstone. So yeah, again, we could debate about this for a while, and in the end, but what's done is done. That's what I go back to. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Breaky, look what's on the courier to Richard Hag.
What is being delivered? It is a.
He's already got it.
I know. I'm in silence.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we actually saw this the last time at BMG. Actually, talking of Richard Hag, the Nullstone.
And he's in trouble. He can't blink in time. He was in animation, but the lockdown came, and I mean that just kind of makes it even a little worse. It's like he got Alchemist Bones, and he does.
And he's dead.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, I think it was actually Zibby who picked up the Alchemist Bones the last
Bubbles,
matchup. Yeah. I think it was on Bubbles, wasn't it? They were actually facing a Parasite in the same game, and obviously I can understand like sort of the theory behind it, but at the same time, like.
No,
why? Like,
that was a BMG. That was the. I think that was the other series.
No, it was Madman. It was on Madman picked up. It was
okay, you're talking about a while back, not yesterday. Okay, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, Madman actually picked up. Zippy actually picked up on the Alchemist Bones. But
yeah,
I'm just not. I'm not fond of it, honestly. Like, because obviously they're already quite greedy already. Obviously they've got the Dark Lady and Tempest, and then this Alchemist Bones as well. It's incredibly greedy. I mean, Nullstone are definitely going to pick up on that and maybe try and force an advantage out of that, because they're not going to allow BMG to sort of sit back and farm, because they've got all the farming items. Nullstone Gaming are going to get out farmed. They've got great farming in terms of Tempest. They've got the Nullstone. Sorry, they've got the Rune Cleaver on Haxrin, and obviously now they've got the Alchemist Bones on Wretched Hag. Nullstone Gaming are not going to sit back. They're going to go for it. Actually, top lane.
Yeah, top lane. Dark Lady wins the battle.
Oh my god.
Dark Lady wins it. The Dark Blade's a little bit too strong. Kind of caught that halfway through, but obviously it seemed like Bubbles got the jump. Dark Lady stood her ground and simply was able to turn it on to Bubbles. So that's a big turn, because you kill Dark Lady, obviously a completely different swing right there. And in fact, the Haxer not only stays alive, but he gets the kill. 430 gold per minute for him. He has the Rune Cleaver, and you can expect that to continue to jump on middle lane. Indeed, Tundra trying to get away with the cold shoulder. Not going to happen, though. Magnus, the Eruption Channel, with the assistance of Torture, they take him out. So Super KG really has not been able to have that big impact that we were definitely curious about. Again, not usually the hero that he plays. So 0-3-0 here, unfortunately. But I honestly am just still, you brought up the point, yes, he did on the Madman, and there was the logic there of going up because of the Parasite and the Puzzle Box, but that's a Madman at least. He's all about attack speed. He can take advantage of it. Yes, middle lane, they pick off Magnus. Tempest Ultimate used to assist with that, so Haxer getting credit. Good news there. But a Wretched Hag? I mean, I will say, Zippy's not afraid to take criticism, clearly. I mean, he's going to try stuff like this. If it works out, we'll be like, you know what, applaud. It worked out. Great job.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, though, then it's, where we're kind of standing and go, that's just weird.
He's had these 2 charges of Alchemist Bones for at least a minute, though. So, again, obviously, if you're going to buy it, make sure you use them. Obviously, he does use it there on the Minotaur, but still, obviously, you need to make sure you're actually using it, because otherwise there's no point picking it up. But I guess we'll have to see if it works out or not. I mean, 10, 15, 20 minutes down the line, I guess we'll get our answer eventually. But at the same time, obviously, it's definitely a risky strategy. But one thing to know that I'm kind of a little bit actually disappointed with Nullstone Gaming, that they're not actually trying to force this issue. They're kind of happy to sort of sit back. Yes, okay, they have been doing a little bit of ganking, but compared to what I expected them to do, actually, I thought they'd be doing. Well, actually, here's the
as you say that, yep, Tundra gets taken out yet again. So, hey, Parasite's looking to be active, and that is showing. Is that a level 1 puzzle box still? It's level 2, actually, even coming out. So he's actually getting very close to a level 3 puzzle box here. And that's going to continue. Bubbles with that portal key, so maybe the tides are turning a little bit. They've been somewhat active. Maybe this is where they're now going to start really turning it on. Gemini, the Firebrand picked up here, so possibly on the way to the full Geometer's Bane, or maybe the Frostburn. We'll see what direction he goes. But tower's going to fall. Top lane, there could possibly be another fight taking place. Dark Lady, he's looking to chase. Magnus stuns out before, but now he's kind of in a tough spot. He's going to steam bath.
Oh, no.
I'm guessing they have dust on some. No, they don't. Nobody has vision. They're going to silence him out, though.
Silence them.
Magnus stunned in 2 seconds. Torture coming in. It takes a little bit of time to see him. He's going to take some more silences, though. In comes the cover of darkness. Bat blast in the face. Down goes Magnus. Down goes Torture. Bubbles comes in. Will it be too late, though? Maybe not. Protectability. It's going to be a full duration. She was not stunned initially. Gemini trying to take her out. Can't even do that. He needs to go for Tempest now. He goes back to full form, realizing he needs to get the hell on out of there. Maybe not, actually. He's still holding his ground. Bubble's still hanging around, actually. And the chase continues. Look at Parasite coming in with the flank, actually. He uses the face suck on a Dark Lady, and now they're looking to chase here. Can they get any kind of stun? I don't believe so. Yeah, the stun not ready for Gemini. He was too close anyways. Tundra still left behind, though, and he might still be going down. Twin Fakes doesn't hit. Maybe the saving grace. Bubbles chasing, doesn't have mana. Parasite not going to go for it. He almost died, yeah. He takes over the imp, though, so at least Tundra lives as well. That was a crazy fight, though, because it did look like BMG was maybe going to look pretty good there in the end, but Nullstone held even their ground, and Parasite came in for the assistance.
Man, Rhapsody, though. Man, that Rhapsody was so big. Saved Dark Lady's life, and again, obviously, Rhapsody making the big plays. The hero is so strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad Nullstone Gaming are trying to get on the aggressive, because now actually is the first time that they are in a sizable lead. Obviously, nearly 4,000 gold and 2,500 experience actually now ahead, and that's what they needed to do. Obviously, they need to take advantage, obviously, of the Alchemist Bones pickup on Wretched Hag, and obviously the Rune Cleaver on Dark Lady, and the sort of rushed portal key from Tempest as well. They need to take advantage, obviously, of these greedy pickups, because otherwise, BMG are going to take advantage of that. As you top lane.
What's going on up here? They catch Dark Lady, and by they, I mean the one in Gemini. He actually catches Dark Lady. Technically they, as he split up. And eventually finishes her off. So there's another blessed orb. Yeah, Gianna's going to be coming out, but especially when the carry takes out the other carry by himself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
why
big.
it's really big.
Very, very big. So actually, Ancients here in the bottom lane.
Bottom Ancients are the Hellborn Ancients. Then face suck on a Rhapsody. No chance for her to get away. The Kelfield even keeping her place. A couple of big ultimates used, but still gets the kill. That's what you use them for, of course. You see Tundra kind of thinking about with Wretched Hag, maybe trying something here. Wretched Hag Bat Blast is coming up. There we go with the Avalanche coming out. The burst damage going to be enough as the Soda Scream follows. So a nice little quick pick. And there's the Puzzle Box being taken out by the Alchemist Bones, actually. He takes on the Mage. Parasite on the main side going to be caught. Tempest ultimate. And the Bat Blast on top to take him out. And they kill the Mauler on top of it. So, all right, that was kind of a slow developing fight right there. But it actually worked out for BMG pretty well.
That's just obviously a Nullstone sort of overstepping their boundaries. Okay, like Torture was trying to get that ward that honestly no need to really take it out. Like if you know a ward's there, you don't even need to really de-ward it. Like it was a dangerous position. All of BMG were off the map, and then for Paris to go and try and save him, that Torture was completely dead. Like another bit of a misplay. Should have just backed off and took the loss in that respect. So 2 big kills honestly for BMG. Particularly on the Parasite, who was sort of snowballing, getting out of control, so a big death on him actually, and although the Tempest element was used, I think it was definitely worth it.
Now, that was kind of interesting. When we did happen to see it yesterday, the Alchemist Bones, and again, kind of make a logic against a Puzzle Box Parasite, yes, there is logic there, we get that. But if you are going to use it, it seems like using it on the Mauler compared to the Wizard makes more sense. He actually used it on the Wizard right there, whether that was a misclick or that was his intention, I'm kind of curious about, because it seems like the Mauler makes more sense, as he said, it doesn't actually explode, and, it takes care of that. Where I guess getting rid of the mana burn is kind of nice, too. Does it make sense to you, or would you always prioritize the Mauler?
I mean, I think it really does depend, honestly. It's not the biggest of deals, so in that respect, really why. I mean, it's a little bit of technicality, but I mean, at least it's almost. It's not really about destroying the minions, but obviously sort of taking away the sort of options for Parasite to sort of jump in them. And actually, the Puzzle Box Wizard was actually the closest to Parasite, so in that respect, it could be seen as a good play at the same time. So
yeah. So. Again, we'll see how it continues to develop for him. Now, we'll see his GP. I mean, it's not still the prettiest. It's only 255, but it's coming up a little bit. As I say that, he does get jumped, and it's going to be enough damage. No, it's not, actually. He's holding his ground. He disjoints the auto attack. I'm pretty sure that's what he was waiting for that whole time, knowing that it was possibly coming out. He's going to get healed by the Astrolabe. You see Parasite chasing in the Ballista, but he can't get close enough. He dusts right there for vision, but it's not going to happen, actually. Somehow, Zime actually escapes right there with his life. Rhapsody, on the other hand, she actually has haste on her Ion Stone. Will that matter? It doesn't look like it. The lockdown, unfortunately, doesn't do a whole lot when you're being locked down. So she gets picked off. You do see Wretched Hag is still wandering about here at the top side with the team, but they need to be careful about their middle lane because Nullstone Gaming right now, they're pushing it. This is going to be a no defense up here.
Yeah, how can they? Obviously, like, Tempest ultimate is down. Stronghead is not up yet on Dark Lady, and Hag's actually gone for a light brand, so even more greed here on BMG. Like, they're almost playing with fire, it feels like, because they're getting so greedy. I mean, it is the sort of strategy they do need to go, but I mean, this far in terms of getting greedy, I don't know if it's just a little bit too much, actually, top lane.
Yeah, Tundra coming in with the Avalanche. Bat Blast on top of that. Magma's definitely going to fall right here. No, maybe not. Oh my god, the Hog taking him down. They need to deny him, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, Tundra goes down. He is going to survive for now. Okay, he's going to barely live. He's going to barely freaking live. Are you kidding me? I thought for certain that was at least going to happen, but he actually lives as he goes back to the well. So the 2-for-0 exchange in favor of Nullstone Gaming right there, as Hag and Tundra get picked off. And Dark Lady, though, she is level 16. She's trying to farm, but yeah, look at Gemini, man. 572 gold per minute. This is a comfort hero for him. We talked about that. And clearly showing off here. He's going to have a Frostless Skull here shortly.
And Dark Lady is closing on that Strong Head, though, so maybe that's the item that BMG are saying, okay, yeah, let's try, let's start fighting now. But at the same time, I guess they don't have to. Obviously, Gemini is doing very well, but I mean, regardless of what GPM Gemini could have, he's not going to be able to out-carry BMG once it gets into the late game, because obviously 2 carries plus Tempest. Tempest almost acts as a carry. Like it obviously farms almost as quick as a carry, and almost has as big of an impact as a carry as well. So it's kind of like a tricle here for BMG. Like with the tricle, Gemini isn't really going to be able to out-carry those 3. So in that respect, there is somewhat of a timer here on Nullstone Gaming, in terms of actually trying to sort of close out the game whether it's sort of pushing into racks, sort of close up the game, or to have such so many kills that the game's already won just because of that in that respect. So it's definitely not over. Although they're very, very far ahead. I mean, BMG, they do have the scary late game potential, so it's definitely something to be noted.
Yeah. Shrunken Head on Dark Hoodie again, definitely ready to combat if need be, and that could very likely be coming up here. You see at the top lane, Legion team in Nullstone Gaming, they are going to be making that push. No restraints going to be put up though again, so this is going to be the last outer tower destroyed, and they're going to maybe even push to the base at this point. You see Beaverbanger leading the way, Tundra doing what he can with those piercing shards, maybe trying to scare them off a little bit, but going to need a lot more backup here if they do want to ultimately hold this off. I don't know if Nullstone Game is going to go all out here by any means. Yeah, probably not.
Without token on Gemini, it's going to be really hard for them to actually siege the base, because obviously they don't actually have any sort of pushing capability, and except for maybe sort of Gemini with token and him just sort of beating on the racks from there. And without token, it's just too risky sort of to have Gemini that far up. I mean, he is tanky, but against a Dark Cloudy Tempest and Tundra, just not tanky enough.
Yeah. So Wretched Ag blinking away right there before too much up is that here at the bottom side of the map. You see they're kind of coming over now. She's going to run over Warda's side here at the Hellborn Ancients. So Nullstone Gaming actually has some little information, and they are in the vicinity. In fact, a Wild Hunter Parasite coming over right here. He's going to look for an opportunity to maybe catch somebody, but that opportunity not necessarily going to work out in the end, as they had fallen back. Good job by BMG, Presence of Mind. Again, they had a Warda's side themselves, so they also picked up on a little bit of information. So Frost Wolf Skull is going to be finished here shortly with that set on Gemini. Again, going to be coming out. He's already bulked up quite a bit, even more so once that's finished. He does have level 4 in Elemental Force as well. Again, we're noting that because in the earlier series, we happened to see Gemini basically maxed out or go level 1 Elemental Force with just stats instead, until he had to basically get them later on. So just very curious about that. But anyways, he gets maxed out earlier on, as is the more expected. You mentioned Token Alive. They didn't have it. Now Congo is, of course, open. They're in the vicinity. They are definitely being spotted, though. The Shiver's here. The Ward of Sight's here. So this is not going to go without being unseen. Yeah,
when you're fighting against Tundra, doing Congo is actually very, very scary, because you're always going to have that kind of God vision over Congo. So the team fight and sort of location sort of advantage is always going to be in BMG's favour, seeing as they are Hellborn as well. So Nullstone Gaming are going to back off. They don't want to risk it. I mean, fighting against a Tempest as well, like in that sort of close sort of chokehold, it's very possible for the 5-man holes to happen. So
there's a counter war coming out. Here come the game of wards now between these two teams. Here at the Congo Pit, Bubbles. He's chasing the initiation. Is successful as Magnus goes in. Rhapsody going to be locked in the background. Shrunken Head up on a Dark Lady. Avalanche used, not really doing a whole lot. Gemini gets locked in though. Gemini ends up falling. Tempest ultimate was canceled pretty quickly, but it was enough to keep Gemini down and take it out. Torture now trouble. There's a Tempest ultimate. I thought it was used, excuse me, it wasn't. It gets canceled immediately though by Parasite. Mauler explodes. Magnus barely alive in the background. Tempest does fall, and even with Gemini getting taken out pretty quickly there, Nullstone Gaming does come out on top in the end. Wretched Hag now getting caught out. She is going to be fine, though. She blinks away, and that will be that. So maybe not coming out on top, but I thought that was going to be bad for Nullstone with the way that looked earlier on. Not too bad, though, in the end.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, Gemini did drop though, and this is what I mean. Like he isn't that tanky yet. He doesn't have the full Frost Skull. He doesn't have the full Behemoth's Heart, and even Dark Lady is dishing out a lot of damage now. Like she's doing about 300 damage per hit with the Dark Blaze activated. 330 right there, as you can see. And now Hag actually has the Grimoire, so a lot of damage. And this is the point where BMG starts to look very, very scary. They've kind of got the items now. Where it's getting into the late game, where I mean the team fight potential is getting to be a lot more in favour of BMG, and Nullstone Gaming obviously they're still ahead in terms of goal and experience, but it's getting very, very scary here for Nullstone Gaming.
Now I need to clarify this. Apparently we're missing out on something. Alchemist Bones, when you use it on Mauler, I guess it still does explode. I was under the impression that it actually didn't explode, and that was another reason why it was actually a good pickup against that. But I guess people in chat and standing up specifically making the point that it actually does explode when you use it on the Mauler. So, I mean, I guess that makes more sense then, as you'd maybe just instead want to prioritize it on the Wizard in that situation. I mean, that's just one of those fine cases. Okay, we get it. Well, we'll perhaps get more information on that just to really be certain on it after this game.
I'm pretty sure that is right though, because I saw when Boxy actually picked up last game, he was like take covering every single time he exploded the Cosmox Mauler. So you'd like Alchemist Bones, and then you'd like instantly take cover. So I'm pretty sure that is correct.
Yeah. I mean, by all means, it's, you know, you
Congo
can't
fight.
know every single mechanic in the game, so we'll learn it with you guys. Yeah, the Congo fight, though, definitely happening. You see it below half-life currently is Kongor kind of going back in and back out. You see the Hellborn team, though. BMG, of course, not going to let it be free. The Shiver coming up right there. Going to continue to scout out with it, but I think Nullstone Gaming realizing they can't commit much further, or else they might just be walking into a trap. Now, Tempest Ultimate is still down for 40 seconds with that said, and I'm pretty sure Nullstone Gaming has a pretty good idea on that. That it's not actually up just yet, but still not enough to allow them to commit to a Conger kill for the time being. In fact, but this is the dangerous thing now, though. They can't just ultimately all fall back, because Conger is now, again, still around half-life here. And if they do fall back, then that could very easily be stolen by BMG. So you're kind of almost at a spot where you have to at least stay in this area now until one team reacts to the other. I mean, right now the creep waves are being pushed in the Hellborn's favor overall, so...
That is true, and like I said before, when you're going against a Tundra, it's so hard to really try and get like a good initiation or sort of the surprise factor, because the Shiver is just so strong, and trying to do like a sneak Conga is never really going to happen here for Nullstone Gaming. And obviously, the later this goes on, we've said it again, we said it before, and I say it again. Obviously, they do have the stronger late game, so Nullstone Gaming do have to sort of try and get innovative here and try and force something to happen, because they are somewhat on a timer. So. Gemini is very, very from. It does actually have the Frostwolf score now, but I mean, Darklade obviously has the Strong Head, has the Rune Cleaver, the Firebrand, and the Abyssal Skull, and actually a full Grimoire of Power, and most likely going to be a Strong Head works actually here for Zibe as well. So, Nullstone Gaming, they need to make something happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, Wretched Ag, again, the GPM still not the most impressive. Understandable, the Aqua Spells I could keep going back to. It's not using that simply to farm with it. It's trying to keep charges for the Maulers and whatnot, or Puzzle Box minions in general, but he does have a Grimoire now, too. So he's got the Steam Boots Grimoire with those Alchemist Bones, and this is a Suicide Hag. I think that's the biggest thing to remember. We are so used to seeing the short lane Hag, especially as of late, that maybe that's kind of one thing to really keep in mind here. A Suicide Hag, they have Dark Lady for their carry potential. Getting that Grimoire power, she's going to be level 16 here in the near future, so having that level 3 Bat Blast with the Grimoire alone, especially for being a Suicide Hag, that is a lot that she is bringing to the table, to be fair. So that is good news for Bad Monkey Gaming here, even though her GPM, again, isn't the best necessarily at this point. Tempest, by the way, I meant to bring this up earlier, and it still kind of stands now. There's her action, a little bit. The Shiver kind of scouting it out right here. The Wild Hunter coming in, though, with Parasite. He's not going to find an opportunity, though. But Tempest actually went Portal Key very early on. I think he even got it before Astrolabe, if I'm not mistaken, making a priority of that. So, do you think that, okay. they want to, man. Magnus, he is going to be stunned out here, and the fight engaged. Darkblade's activated. Gemini off to the side, though. He's locking down Tundra. Tundra couldn't even do anything that whole time because of Gemini. And so, actually, it's a 1-5 for Nullstone Gaming there. And maybe that's going to clear up Kongor. They don't have a buyback on Tundra either.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing actually is Shiver. Actually, Shiver's still alive actually, so they still have that aspect actually of Tundra, regardless of whether he's alive or not. They kind of do actually need to take down the Shiver, because Tempest could easily take out a big black hole, and they look like they're going to try and take it actually. 45.
Yeah. It's BMG doesn't want to give it up, though. In fact, there we go. Tempest Ultimate going to be coming out right there. It's not going to be stopped. Finally gets stopped, though, by Magnus. A good duration, but not long enough. They got the kill on Gemini, though. That's what matters. In the meantime, Tempest does go down, but he's done his job in a sense. Darkly locks down. Torture gets a kill, and now Magnus going to be on the run. Not for long, though. He ends up getting taken out. Hat trick for Haxorad. Maybe going to be a quad kill, probably on the uphill. Yes, going to be a quad kill for Haxorad. So just like that, even with a 4 versus 5 fight, they come out on top. And they take a Bubbles is hiding here with the Invis, however. Oh, this is interesting. Can't see him. He puts out a ward of sight right as Wretched Ag goes to by. So he is not knowing to be here. The Shiver's going to spot him, though.
Shiver.
Yep, the Shiver spots him. So now they know. And if anything, they're going to scare him off before they finish off Kongor. There we go. Token Alive comes out. And they're going to kill Bubbles. I mean, wow.
Shiver MVP, like they could take that team fight 4v5 because of that God Vision practically that the Shiver provided, and then obviously the Shiver sort of stopped Babbles trying to take sort of snatching the Conga as well. So man, Tundra, we haven't seen him a lot, but he's been some big plays here regardless.
Yeah. Wow, that was I mean, to think that Nullstone Gaming, they were looking strong. Gemini pretty farmed. They had the advantage at Conqueror in the sense of numbers at least, but that did not let BMG phase it. I'm not even sure how they bursted down Gemini so quickly, but my guess is maybe just Dark Lady got on top with the Dark Blades, and was just able to pound away at him. Because, I mean, he seemed to drop very early on in that fight. And that's never a good thing, so...
And now this is getting to the critical point where it's getting very scary now. Obviously, Dark Lady's finished her Dawnbringer, and it's like nearly 35 minutes. Hag actually isn't going to go for a strong, it's going to most likely be a tablet, actually, which is a little bit surprising. Most likely, I don't see what else the NIF book and the major tournament is going to really make. So in that respect, I guess it's going to be a tablet of command, but a little bit strange in that respect, I guess. But.
Yeah. Those are just Illusion Dark Ladies right there, so Gemini gonna take those out, but bottom lane in the meantime, Wretched Hag is just kind of pushing it here. She's, again, doing enough at this point, level 17 now, so like I said, has that level 3 Path Blast, and I'm sure that was a big reason too, maybe getting that off against Gemini at the very beginning, probably bursted him down. In fact, speaking of that, look at the movement here from Bad Monkey Gaming. They're going towards the bottom lane. They were spotted, I'm guessing, maybe from, no, maybe not, but anyways, something given Nullstone Gaming. Their spider sense is tingling maybe as they start falling back. Dark Lady just kind of scares them a little bit and just cleans up the creeper. That's just, it's so strong, man. You Dark Blades and charging strikes with the Rune Cleaver, and she just clear those creep waves like they're nothing. And just so quickly, so as she shows right there. Magnus, though, keeping BMG occupied. He pushes the top lane and at least gets them to kind of fall back. So they got Token. How much longer is on that? 240 remaining, so still a little bit of time here. But, will they actually make use of it is the question. I assume that's the plan here at least. Going to be coming out for BMG. Maybe just push out this top lane and then meet somewhere here to make something happen. So if you're Nullstone Gaming, I was going to say, do you just sit back and wait for that to inevitably come, or do you look to be active and maybe get a gank?
You have to get aggressive. They have to get aggressive. They have to sort of force the team fight when it's sort of fragmented, like a 3v5. In favour of Nullstone Gaming, because I think it's getting to the point now, particularly now Dark Lady has the Aegis, they can't win a regular team fight 5-on-5. They lost. I think they've lost the last 3, so the 4th one isn't going to be any different in that respect. They've got to switch up the strategy in that respect. Go on the aggressive. Even if they go as 5, just go for like a 1 pick off it. It could be the difference, obviously, for them staying in this game actually. So just sort of sitting back and farming is not going to make a difference.
Those puzzle boxes destroyed that illusion right there. So, but yeah, again, they tried to a little bit right there, but clearly BMG falling back before they gave them a good opportunity to make anything happen with it. So here comes that token push, though. 1.5 minutes remaining, so pretty good timing right here. Haxrin leading the way here in the middle lane. She has 3,800 gold saved up. What was that? Oh, yeah, I almost jumped on a Magnus, as well as Bubbles, but they both get away in time. And going to retreat all the way back to their base, it looks like. So, again, no gank, unfortunately, going to be had here. They're going to need to stand their ground at their base. They definitely can. They got burst themselves. And, again, so if you're Nullstone here, it's, well, actually, this is not going to help things. Torture gets caught off to the side. It is a support Torture, but still, he's going to go down right away. Not going to be out for a good 45 seconds right here. I mean, yeah, again, a support Torture, but losing out on his stun at the very least is something pretty crucial. Going to help out BMG even more. But I was going to say, if you're Nullstone, do you give what they take you, or do you want to prioritize another target other than Dark Lady here?
It's hard, though, because if they actually go on Dark Lady, then also you got the Tempest, Tundra, and Rhapsody all to back him up. It's not like the last game where they could just kill the Dark Lady. It's not as easy as that. There's so many different variables they have to think about. I mean, Dark Lady obviously has the token as well, so that's just another thing to sort of focus about. But Dark Lady, they're taking the Rex right now. They have to go. Yeah,
Dark Lady dropping. She's probably going to end up falling right here. The Mauler's actually about to explode, too. It's the one auto attack away. There we go. Wretched actually takes it. Anyways, Tempest goes in. He's being locked down. He's just like, screw it. I'm going to throw my Tempest ultimate. It's going to be a good duration. It is. No, it's not stopped, actually. Or maybe it was. Anyways, it gets stopped, but that doesn't matter. Parasite goes down. Gemini did fall. He buys back immediately. Magnus, a big eruption coming out. If Dark Lady didn't have a shrunken head, maybe a big-time different story. At least they clean up on 2. They're going for a third on Hag. They take out Hag, and Dark Lady does get away, but the hold is successful for Nullstone Gaming. Fuzzy Sloth with the huge initiation to end things off right there. Again, a buyback used on Beaver Banger, but hey, it could have gone a lot worse at the same time.
and now they're actually racing down to try and get the racks. And I think this is the play they need to do. Tempest doesn't have a buyback. Zibby does, but neither does Rhapsody. So it's going to be a 3 versus 4 at the max. But and they can't wait any longer. It's already sort of into the late game stages. It's not going to get any better from if they want to sort of win this game and take an advantage. It's right here, right now. So they are going to go down into the middle racks. But at the same time, Tundra just picked up the sheepstick. Actually, it's going to be hard if they can actually breach these racks here. Seeing as Hag does have a buyback.
Yeah. See Gemini, he's maybe just going to make his way to the top lane instead, look to do something up here. So Gemini's been on those same items. I mean, they are very strong items, of course, but he has been on these for a little bit, it feels like, from the death he had earlier to then the buyback that he had to use there. So he hasn't been able to progress. I mean, seeing a carry player in general with 2 open inventory slots this later on in the game, usually not a thing. I mean, granted, they could just use be filled up with lesser items. I mean, there's a TP, so
got a TP now.
Yeah,
so.
well, there you go. Now only 1 left. Yeah, so yeah, not really a big deal, but again, it does look kind of funny at the same time.
No. It's a good point to make though, because and you know, people always talk about like item progression, and like you said, he hasn't actually. I don't think he picked up an item since like the last 15 minutes. That the death and the buyback has definitely sort of pushed him back. He would have had his Behemoth part by now, which I'm assuming that's what he's going to go for. But at the same time, he can't even pick up the axe of the Malphite yet, because if he does pick it up and then dies, then obviously the game's practically already over. He needs to sort of save for the second buyback. But at the same time, he's only as strong as 15 minutes ago because he hasn't progressed. So. The team fight here, and although Gemini is very, very strong and is the late game carry, it's just not enough to make a difference in these team fights.
And again, yeah, definitely the big thing to remember too, noting on JB playing this Wretched Hag, a very slow start, playing the Suicide Hag and the Alchemist Bones. She is now, again, the GPM still nothing too scary. And actually, she's going to get caught right here. I'm sorry, Zibe. I'm so sorry. Well, he goes down, so maybe a little bit different story. But I was going to say, I mean, his impact is definitely something to keep in mind. He's working towards a Hellflower at this point, already with the Grimoire. So, and with the fast attack speed, especially with those Alchemist Bones, I mean, he's going to be hitting pretty hard. But dying right there doesn't necessarily help the situation. So, and I mean, overall stats, too, this does say it's a pretty, not that much of a runaway yet, at least. 3,400 gold lead, 4,400 experience lead. Obviously, the racks not being destroyed as well, making this more of a still anybody's game kind of deal at this point. So what do you think Beaver Banger is going to get, though, next? What?
I think it's got to be actually...
Oh, there's that jump. That Tavis on the map. Parasite nearby, though. He's going to cancel it pretty quickly right there. Gemini allowed to put in the auto attacks, but out comes the cover of darkness in the background. Mauler explodes, and down goes Tundra right there. Eruption coming out. Tempest going to be fine with a triggered head. The crit's coming out from Dark Grenade. Gemini still alive, not for long. Quad kill for Haxred. He's all over the place, getting big red numbers, and he gets the quad kill out of nowhere. Oh, I feel like that just happened instantly all of a sudden.
I mean, but it took us off guard. Imagine what happens if Noxon, they were definitely taken off guard instantly. A random Tempest always catches 2 people. It does actually, get cancelled eventually by Parasite, but that 1 to 2 seconds was enough. And now Dark Lady hitting on the racks, he's hitting so damn hard.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what we were talking about. This is the BMG we're used to sort of seeing with Haxrin, playing the hard carry. And just wrecking face 660 GPM. It did actually just force Gemini his final buyback. And I mean, after that team fight, it's looking very, very dire here for Nullstone Gaming. Gemini doesn't have a buyback, and Haxrin's almost fully slotted here. And this, like I said, not going to get any better. But yeah, an absolute insane kind of initiation there coming out from Tankfit.
Yeah, Beaver Banger, again, he's had to use 2 buybacks now. I just look back at that inventory. His GPM's high, but it's not really reflecting where he's at right now as he's standing in this game. I mean, he's being just more of a tank, if anything, as far as that's concerned, rather than being able to put out a lot of damage threat at this point, it feels like. So, we're on the other side of the spectrum. You have a Dark Lady now, level 4 Rift Shards, another 4,900 gold saved up. So, we just got finished getting a record set for a Dark Lady game. What was it, like 700 and something, like 740 around there?
Yeah,
and, I mean, so he still has a little bit to go, but Dark Lady... This has to mean something, right? Especially when Dark Lady wins, she wins big. I mean, the GPM
goes big
is
or
up
goes
there.
home, man.
Yeah. So if you let her get to this point, it's usually, and right now, as far as the stats that are recorded, I believe she's undefeated when she gets numbers like this. So she actually buys a quick blade right there. So definitely a wing bow going to be in the making. Would be the obvious choice. As far as what Nullstone Gaming can do here. And they're going to need a lot of positives, definitely some gank attempts or some ganks to happen. Catching BMG out of position is going to be a big part of it, I'm sure. Because I don't think at this point they can rely on winning a big team fight with the way that these fights have been playing out here. and with the way things are looking. So if BMG just does a whole lot of sticking together, doesn't really give them those opportunities, and I don't know if there's much Nullstone Gaming can do, but as I say that, I mean, they are kind of spread out right now, including Reginag being at the bottom lane by himself currently. She actually buys a portal key.
This is what I was saying, actually, the portal key on Haction. He's got a tablet as well, like another weird item for Reginag. I guess he isn't really playing the hard carry. He's playing a little bit more utility.
Yeah, like I was saying, especially this guy too. And at the same time, you know, for how stingent we are usually as far as not seeing diversity with items and whatnot, it's Magnus gets picked up at the top lane, and that could possibly start the end being near. Now, Magnus does have a buyback with that said, but I was going to go back to, I mean, he is not afraid to try these different things, and I mean, he's doing it here, and to be frank, he's making it work. So you can't, you know, take that. Well, it is fun to see. So, but yeah, portal key, Reginag, not your typical go-to. He runs into Parasite. Parasite return to the damage though, but Rhapsody is nearby. He's going to take over his puzzle box smaller. Gemini kind of there, but yeah, off to the side, Torture getting picked off, and they're going into the melee racks now. So this is really an awkward fight here for Nullstone Gaming. The buyback not being used yet on a Magnus. I guess they weren't really in the best position to make a hold as a team, so they just give up the middle racks in the end. They are going to be waiting for the top push, though, and I assume we're going to see a buyback here from Magnus. Yes, he has Eruption, so here we go. The buyback happens. I'm sure BMG picking up that. Bubbles invis. He opens with the sheep stick. The opening, the Twin Finks to follow. Dark Liddy taking some good damage. Going to be evasioning. Magnus, oh my god, sheep to the background. The Eruption does absolutely nothing as a result. Tundra does get picked off. The Hellborn team is going to retreat, actually, so despite a missed Eruption, will it matter? Tabas all about locking out Gemini. Parasite jumped into it. He went to stop it, but he jumped right into it, unfortunately. Gemini goes down, Parasite goes down, and that should do it. GG, well played. Bad Monkey Gaming will take game number one. A hat trick immortal.
He did it.
Just before. Because why not? Oh my god. What a finish.
Dark Lady.
That Dark Lady. TDL, man, she, I guess, is the carry that players are going to have to start worrying about. But it does kind of go back to the matchup, though. I mean, we talked about the previous series, happens here versus the Gemini, against those carries that rely on their skill set to an extent, and also it's just a squishy team all around. They are kind of that here on the Legion side. So it was a later pick, to be fair, but yeah.
I mean, Gemini though was picked up after Dark Lady, so I mean, I guess they obviously want to have the comfort on Beaver Banger, but at the same time, like, sort of just picking a hero because it's comfortable isn't always the best sort of situation or the event to do it, because obviously if you're sort of picking a hero that is already going to get countered by the other heroes in the enemy team, it's definitely one to be questioned, to be fair. So.
Yeah. All right. Wow, what a game number one we had there. Again, we knew we should expect a great series coming into this one. And a hell of a way to kick it off. So game number one goes to BMG.